Hey everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is Anime Octopus, your go-to spot for exploring the most intriguing twists, theories, and what-if scenarios in the anime universe. Today, we're diving into a continuation of one of our favorite fanfic explorations, What If Naruko Was a Geek Demigod? Part 2. Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer, the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. Full credit goes to the original creators and copyright holders for their incredible work. Now, get ready as we unpack an alternate universe where Naruko's life takes a turn into the extraordinary. From clever strategies to hidden powers, and the unexpected challenges of being a demigod in the ninja world, this fanfic promises twists you won't see coming. So, let's dive in, explore the possibilities, and see just how far Naruko can push the boundaries of both geekdom and divine power. Let's start, guys. There were only so many words to describe the situation Naruko was facing right now. A storm of epic proportions capable of turning the world upside down did not quite cover it. Not even close. She could feel her nerves buzzing like lightning in a jar. Why did I agree to this? She thought. Right now, she was sitting on a soft couch across from Athena and Artemis. Athena had that serious, watchful gaze, while Artemis was busy cooing at her daughter, who seemed like a tiny whirlwind of energy. Naruko couldn't help but marvel at how different motherhood could look. Athena was calm, collected, and confident, while Artemis was gentle, playful, and full of warmth. It was fascinating. She had never seen a family like this before. Zephyrus and Hermes were in the next room, trying, and failing, not to giggle at Naruko's awkwardness. Naruko's cheeks flushed. Focus, she told herself. This is serious. Athena passed a tiny baby to her. This is your daughter, Annabeth Uzumaki, she said with care, making sure Naruko held her correctly. Naruko's eyes softened as she looked at the small bundle. Annabeth had golden hair like hers, delicate fingers curling around her own, and eyes that sparkled with curiosity and mischief. She felt an instant, unshakable connection. Artemis, smiling softly, handed over her own daughter. And this is Tsuki, which means moon. She's curious and full of life, just like her mother, she said. Naruko held both babies gently, amazed by how light and fragile they were. They squirmed and cooed, tiny hands brushing against her face. She realized that even though the world outside might be dangerous, here, in this moment, everything was full of warmth and love. I'm a mother, Naruko whispered to herself, her voice shaking with wonder. Tears pricked her eyes as she gently stroked Annabeth's soft hair. A real family. I finally have a family. Athena's lips curved in a small, approving smile. You'll protect them, won't you? She asked softly. Naruko nodded, feeling a swell of determination. I will. I promise. No matter what comes, I'll keep them safe. Artemis leaned back, watching Naruko's careful, loving movements. She's a natural, Artemis thought. Strong, patient, caring. My daughters couldn't be in better hands. Naruko placed the babies in their golden cradles, activating gentle silencing charms that made the room calm and serene. She kissed each of their foreheads, whispering, "Sleep well. Mommy's right here." Turning back to Athena and Artemis, Naruko took a deep breath. Now, can you tell me everything? From the very beginning? The goddesses exchanged a glance, silently agreeing that Naruko was ready. Athena began, her voice steady and clear. The gods and goddesses of Olympus exist. They watch over the world in secret. And right now, there are some who might seek to harm your daughters. Naruko's heart tightened. But, monsters? Titans? She asked carefully, her protective instincts flaring. Don't say their names, Artemis warned gently. Names have power. Your daughters are protected, and we call them the kindly ones for that reason. Naruko nodded, her mind racing. I won't let anything happen to them. Not a single thing. She could feel the weight of responsibility, but it didn't scare her. It energized her. She had a family to protect. Athena's eyes softened as she watched her. You'll need courage, Naruko. But you already have it. And you have love, too. Naruko smiled, feeling a warmth she had never known before. I may not have all the answers, but I'll do everything I can to keep my family safe. I'll learn. I'll grow. And I'll make sure Annabeth and Tsuki have the happiest lives possible. Artemis reached out and squeezed Naruko's hand. Then we trust you, she said. Athena nodded in agreement. Naruko's chest swelled with pride. She had faced countless challenges before, but nothing compared to this. I am a mother now. And I will be the best one I can be. The four of them, two mothers, a new mother, and two tiny daughters, sat together in calm understanding, knowing that whatever adventures awaited, they would face them as a family. And in that moment, Naruko knew, without a doubt, that love could be the most powerful magic of all. Naruko felt a twinge of sadness. She had lost someone precious, again. But she let out a soft sigh. That was the way of life sometimes, she thought. Things changed, people moved on, but giving up was never in her nature. When had it ever been? If Naruko knew anything about herself, it was that she always proved people wrong by her actions. This time would be no different. So, how exactly do you deal with the kindly ones? Just get a stick and poke them? Naruko asked, trying to steer the conversation towards something lighter. She hoped she didn't have to journey halfway across the world for some lost, magical artifact. That kind of adventure wasn't new to her, though. She'd already done things most people couldn't imagine. You actually need a special kind of metal called celestial bronze, Artemis explained, holding up a small, shining dagger. It cuts through them as if they were made of paper. And just swinging sharp objects doesn't matter? Naruko said, raising an eyebrow. Artemis blinked, a little embarrassed. Of course a sharp metal would cut, it was the celestial bronze that made it special. So nothing else works? A regular sword? Or maybe fire? Naruko asked. A regular sword will make a scratch, but they'll heal. Fire? It works, slowly. You'd have more luck tossing a rock at them. Even if you manage to defeat one, they eventually return, Athena added calmly. Naruko thought for a moment. Sounds like they were sentient, much like the Baiju she knew. She understood quickly. Are there any kindly ones nearby? She asked. We wanted to talk about that, Artemis said. We think it's best if you move, Athena added. Why? Naruko tilted her head, curious. This area. It's a gathering place for them. A nest, of sorts, Artemis said. Stepping outside, Naruko's eyes widened. Strange creatures hung from electric poles, while humans, or at least human-shaped figures, walked about with a single glowing eye. Some even stared directly at her. Why aren't they attacking? She whispered. Athena and Artemis came closer. They know we're here. They wouldn't dare harm you with us around, Artemis said. But this many at once. It's unusual. Naruko realized something important. These creatures were primitive, relying on instincts. Maybe they sensed her chakra and couldn't tell whether she was a demigod or just unusual. Either way, she had to know she could handle them if it came to it. Athena, Artemis. Can I trust you to keep a secret? Naruko asked. Both looked puzzled. Of course. Why wouldn't we? Athena said. Not a word, Artemis added. Good, Naruko said. She stepped up onto a railing, eyes focused on a small bird-like creature perched nearby. Chakra chains. She called, sending a glowing blue chain toward it. The chain wrapped around the creature gently but firmly. Her other hand glowed as she spun her chakra into a small, shimmering sphere. With a quick, precise movement, she released it. Rasengan. The sphere touched the creature, and in an instant, it dissolved into sparkling golden dust that drifted away on the wind. Silence fell. Athena's eyes widened. What was that? She exclaimed. Artemis just stared, amazed. It's called chakra, Naruko explained simply. It's a mix of spiritual energy and physical power. Can anyone do that? Artemis asked. Not really. You're born with it, Naruko said. My daughters might get some, but it's too early to tell. Athena looked at her curiously. Then, what exactly are you? Naruko thought for a moment. I'm a lot of things. A ninja. A protector. A former Jinchuriki. Maybe even something between human and something else. I'm unpredictable. Athena frowned, clearly unsettled by not knowing everything about her. Artemis, on the other hand, smiled faintly. She could see the humor in the situation, the chaotic energy of Naruko's life, her name meaning a force of nature in more ways than one. Not funny, Naruko. What was that just now? Athena shouted. It's a family secret, Naruko said lightly, though her tone was firm. I'll explain everything when the time is right. For now, it's just something I need to do. Athena's expression softened, though she was still troubled. Naruko understood. Sometimes doing the right thing meant making hard choices. I want my daughter to have a real family, Naruko said quietly. One that's here, and present, and caring. That's more important than titles or power. Athena didn't answer, only walking away. Artemis stayed, watching her. "You're an idiot," Artemis said. "I know," Naruko admitted, smiling faintly. "Why did you do it?" Artemis asked. "Because it needed to be done," Naruko said. And with that, she turned back to the horizon, ready for the next adventure, knowing that no matter how strange the world might get, she could face it, she always could. "Artemis, from what I can gather, gods aren't allowed to raise their children, right?" she asked. Artemis nodded. "Yes, that's true." "Then that means she cares more about the rules than her family. But I care for my family above everything else. Even if Olympus disagrees, I'll do whatever it takes to protect them," Naruko said firmly. "Against Olympus? That's impossible. One person can't stand up to a god," Artemis replied. Then she heard soft giggling. It turned into a chuckle, and soon it was full laughter. For a moment, she wondered if Naruko had lost her mind. "Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've outsmarted a god," Naruko said with a grin, thinking back on past adventures that had tested her cleverness. Artemis was startled. "You outsmarted a god?" "Maybe. But I only use my abilities to protect those I care about," Naruko said. "Will you hurt the Olympians or the children?" Artemis asked, concerned. "No, not unless they start trouble," Naruko replied, heading back to her home, determined to keep everyone safe. Artemis decided to trust Naruko. She knew that this brave and clever girl's heart was always in the right place. She envied her daughters a little, to have such a caring and fearless mother. Somewhere else, Athena thought to herself, that girl. Clever, brave, and completely unpredictable. She always takes responsibility, even when it's difficult. She saw Naruko bearing responsibilities with grace and love, and it warmed her heart. Naruko was someone who could be trusted completely, and Athena admired her for it. Back at the apartment, Naruko sighed. Life was complicated, but she wouldn't change a thing. She wanted her children to grow up safe, happy, and full of adventure. She kicked the door where Hermes and Zephyrus were hiding. "Come on out, I have questions." After a few grumbles, the two gods appeared. "So, what exactly are you? Don't tell me some trick you told the others." "I know humans well," Naruko said. Hermes smiled. "We're bound by the Bro Code." "The Bro Code?" Naruko asked. "It's the code all friends must follow," Zephyrus explained. Hermes shook his head at the West Wind's antics. "Ignore him. You can trust me," he said. "Good to know. Honor among friends," Naruko replied. Suddenly, Naruko disappeared, startling Hermes. Then she reappeared behind him. "I'm a shinobi," she whispered. "That's amazing." Zephyrus cheered. Naruko asked about the leaders of Olympus, demigods, and how to protect her children. Hermes explained the basics. Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon were the most powerful. The demigods should be brought to Camp Half-Blood for safety. Naruko nodded, understanding the rules. "I can handle this," she said confidently. "Good luck," Zephyrus said with a wink, and just like that, the gods vanished. Naruko returned to her children, watching them sleep peacefully. She promised herself that no matter what, she would always be there for them. 6 years later. "Mom, look what I did," Suki shouted excitedly, pointing at a dartboard covered with perfect X's. She grabbed her mother's hand, jumping up and down. "Give me a minute, honey. I'm almost done cooking," Naruko said, stirring a pot of ramen. "Okay, Mom." Suki ran off to fetch her sister, Annabeth, who was holding a book. "Annabeth, no reading at the table," Naruko reminded gently. "Aw, please, Mom?" Annabeth asked with a hopeful smile. Naruko sighed, smiling. She rarely said no to her daughters. She wanted them to have everything she didn't. They ate together, laughing and talking. Annabeth shared ideas about buildings and books, while Tsuki recounted her sports adventures. They were opposites but got along wonderfully, Annabeth thoughtful and clever, Tsuki energetic and bold, just like Naruko had been as a child. Despite their challenges, Naruko felt proud. Her daughters were unique, brave, and full of heart. She would guide them, protect them, and let them shine in their own ways. After all, being a family was the greatest adventure of all. Besides training, she needed something to occupy her time. Sure, raising her daughters was a wonderful way to spend the day, but with school, it left an 8-hour gap of doing nothing. She really missed going on missions. Learning to control more elements was fun, but sometimes it felt like a slow, dragging puzzle. Lately, she had been working on something incredible, controlling gravity, or rather, controlling vectors. Ever since she had faced Nagato, she couldn't stop thinking about that powerful technique, Shinra Tensei. It was an astonishing combination of defense and offense, and she wanted to understand it. But for the life of her, she couldn't figure out how to do it. She started breaking down what made the Rinnegan special. People could learn the 5 elements, though usually only 1 or 2. Certain abilities, like summoning, could be copied. Others, like mechanical enhancements, were possible with clever tools. But some, like the human path or Naruko path, seemed beyond ordinary reach. And then there was the balance of yin and yang. Opposites. Could it be related to magnetism? She realized that the core of the power was movement, the push and pull, the force behind things. Vectors. The first step was learning to control yin and yang release, which was slow going. After all, that was the power that had sealed away a primordial god, or at least that was what she thought the Juubi was. She had no Rinnegan, no Sharingan, no inherited bloodline powers. All she had was her own ingenuity and determination. And she built upon that. She wouldn't have it any other way. A year later, Naruko's daughter, Annabeth, tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, can we go see the Parthenon in Nashville?" she asked. Naruko blinked. "May I ask why, sweetie?" It was unusual for Annabeth to ask for anything besides books. "Come on, Mom, please. We're on vacation. It's only like a day's drive from here." She didn't understand the meaning of distance yet. Why do you want to go there?" Naruko asked again. "'Cause I want to see the building." Annabeth's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Sweetie, a day's drive just to see a building." Naruko trailed off. She could appreciate architecture, but she didn't share her daughter's fascination. "But I want to go." Annabeth's eyes shimmered with tears. Naruko knew that look. Her daughter always knew how to get her way. In truth, Naruko had no reason to say no. She had the means, and a small break from training would be nice. The only thing she had to consider was whether her other daughter, Tsuki, wanted to go. "Tell you what," she said, sighing in mock exasperation. "If Tsuki wants to go, we'll all go. Okay?" "Thanks, Mom," Annabeth said, jumping into her arms and planting a kiss on her cheek before running off to persuade her sister. Tsuki adored her mother. Well, both daughters did, but Tsuki would always follow Naruko without hesitation. Why not? She was the best mom ever. When Tsuki wanted a bike, Naruko bought her one. When she wanted her own room, Naruko made sure it had everything: a comfy bed, a giant TV, and a whole set of games. When she wanted to learn self-defense, Naruko taught her, patiently and kindly. So it was no surprise that her daughters loved her fiercely. They loved each other too. Sure, Annabeth could be a little geeky, and Tsuki liked quiet hobbies, but when it came to family, they were inseparable. If one of them ever faced trouble, the other would rush to help, action first, questions later. Tsuki also loved seeing Naruko happy. She knew that her mom gave them both equal love, but sometimes it was nice to feel special. When Annabeth asked for something exciting, like a trip to see a famous building, Tsuki happily joined. She knew it would make her sister smile, and that was enough. So together, they piled into the car, ready for adventure, laughter, and memories. Naruko smiled, watching her daughters chatter excitedly about the trip ahead. Life was full of challenges, magic, and training, but in moments like this, it was also full of simple joy, family, and love. And that, Naruko thought, was the kind of power worth mastering. Night time. Naruko had been driving for hours. She envied her daughters in the back. It was so unfair. They were just sitting, watching DVDs in the car, while she focused on the long, dark, slightly dusty road ahead. This dimension could be boring sometimes. Why didn't she Hiraition straight to Nashville again? Oh, right, incognito. She didn't mind though. Her daughters were happy, and that made her happy. No trouble at all. "Daddy, I'm sleepy," Tsuki mumbled. It was already dark, and Naruko didn't want to risk anything on the road while it was so quiet and empty. "Okie, honey. We'll stop by a hotel and go to sleep. How does that sound?" Naruko asked softly. Tsuki mumbled okay. "But Daddy, I'm not tired," Annabeth yawned. "Sweetie, the building will still be there tomorrow. It's not far from here anyway. The sun needs to be up to see it, remember?" Naruko said gently. "Meanie," she muttered, clearly sleepy. "I'll buy you some more books over there. How does that sound?" Naruko offered. Annabeth's eyes brightened. Books always made her happy. They stopped at a hotel, a nice one. It sat near a bridge, with a gentle river flowing under it. Annabeth was practically bouncing with excitement, while Tsuki sipped soda to stay awake. Her dad's rule, never coffee, it made her too jittery. As soon as they got settled, Annabeth dashed outside. "Dad, I'm going to see the bridge. Is that okay?" "Yes? Okay, bye," she shouted, zipping down the path. Naruko looked startled. Of course, Annabeth had a passion for architecture, she didn't realize just how eager she could be. "Annabeth, wait. Tsuki, stay here," Naruko called, tying her shoes and hurrying to the door. "Wait. You want me to stay here? In a hotel room by myself? With who knows who else in this building? It's like a horror movie." Tsuki protested. "Good point. Get dressed and let's go," Naruko said with a smile. Annabeth remembered something her dad once told her. Our family tends to get into the weirdest situations when we least expect it, or when we don't think with our heads. She wished she had paid more attention. Far ahead, something unusual caught her eye. A glowing figure with wings swooped through the night sky, moving quickly, chasing two teenagers, one with dark hair and a gothic outfit, and another with blonde hair, carrying strange tools. Annabeth froze. The figure seemed to notice her and darted toward her. "Where is it going?" the gothic girl shouted. The blonde-haired teen squinted. "It's heading for that girl," he cried. Annabeth's heart pounded. She couldn't understand why anyone would chase her, until a thought struck her, maybe she's one of them. Naruko was not far behind, and her eyes glowed softly as she focused. She knew exactly what to do. With a gentle but firm voice, she called out, "Annabeth, Tsuki, stay calm. I've got you." In an instant, a soft blue light surrounded her. The glowing figure paused, unsure of what it had encountered. Naruko moved with incredible speed, appearing in front of her daughters. "Wow. That was amazing, Dad," Tsuki whispered, wide-eyed. Annabeth hugged her leg, trembling from relief but safe. Naruko smiled, brushing her daughter's hair back. "Don't worry, sweeties. Daddy will always protect you." Both girls beamed up at her, reassured. There was a magical warmth to her presence, a sense that nothing could harm them while she was around. She looked back at the two teenagers, who were clearly tired and confused. "Okay, I know you two are far from home. Let's go back to the hotel, and you can tell me your names." The teenagers exchanged glances. They had nothing to fear. "My name is Talia Grace," the gothic girl said. "And I'm Luke Castellan," said the blonde-haired boy. Naruko nodded, her blue eyes sparkling. "Well, it looks like we have some new friends tonight. Come on, everyone, let's get you warm and rested. Tomorrow, we can figure everything out together." Her daughters giggled, and even Talia and Luke couldn't help but feel a little lighter. The night had been full of surprises, but with Naruko there, they knew they were safe, and maybe, just maybe, it would turn into the start of a wonderful adventure. Luke had faced many strange creatures in his life, mechanical automatons, wild beasts, and even the mysterious Lucroti, but for the first time, he felt a kind of fear he had never known. It wasn't the monsters themselves, it was the presence of the woman standing before him. She radiated strength and calm at the same time, a combination that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. "What were you two doing out this late?" she asked, her voice firm but not unkind. Luke glanced nervously at the two girls beside him. They had just escaped a mansion once owned by Halcyon Green, clutching a magical bracelet called the Aegis. The girls were tired and hungry, but they had survived the chase of a monster who had sensed Talia's injury and tried to take advantage. Talia, still sniffly, hugged the bracelet against her chest, while the other girl poked at it with wide-eyed curiosity. We were running from some monsters," Luke finally said, his voice trembling. The woman's eyes softened as she looked at him and the girls. Luke felt a shiver run down his spine, realizing how intensely she seemed to protect her own daughters. Somehow, she had mastered powers strong enough to fight even the fiercest of creatures, and yet, she carried a warmth that was impossible to ignore. "What about your parents?" she asked gently, though there was a quiet strength in her tone. The mention made Talia stiffen. Memories of her family weren't always happy, and she could sense Luke's own discomfort. The woman noticed, but she didn't press, just gave a small nod, and the tension around them seemed to lighten. "I should introduce myself," she said with a smile. "My name is Naruko Uzumaki. And these are my daughters. Come on, girls, say hi." "Hi. I'm Tsuki Uzumaki. Nice to meet you," said the girl with the ponytail, full of energy and excitement. "I'm Annabeth Uzumaki," said the other girl, standing tall despite her sniffles. Luke and Talia couldn't help but admire her courage. Naruko glanced at Luke and Talia with a knowing smile. "I imagine you've heard a little about demigods?" Luke nodded. "We know some things, but not a lot. Like how gods exist, sometimes have children, and then, well, they leave?" Luke added, earning a small laugh from Talia. "That's one way to put it," Naruko said, her smile gentle. "In our case, I'm your daughter's parent. They inherited some special abilities from their mothers, who are goddesses." Talia's eyes widened. "Wait, more than one?" "Yes," Naruko said simply. "Each of my daughters has a different mother, and both are goddesses." Even Luke, used to heroes and legends, couldn't help but look at her in awe. But Talia's mind was full of curiosity and wonder. "Dad, Mom? Who are our mothers?" Annabeth asked, tugging gently at Naruko's sleeve. Naruko chuckled softly. "That's something I can't really tell you yet. Gods have rules, and mortals, well, we have to respect them," she said, shrugging with a twinkle in her eye. "That's unfair," Suki exclaimed, crossing her arms. "It can be confusing," Naruko said gently. "But someday, when the time is right, you'll understand everything. For now, there's something more important: you're safe here." "Safe?" Talia asked, looking at the girls and Luke. "Yes," Naruko said, crouching down so she could look the children in the eyes. "There's a camp, a place for kids like you, where you'll learn about your abilities and be protected from monsters. It's called Half-Blood Camp." "Can we get there?" Luke asked, hope creeping into his voice. "We'll find a way," Naruko said confidently. "Sometimes, the right path appears when you least expect it. And sometimes, you just have to keep moving forward and trust that things will work out." The girls exchanged glances. It sounded magical. Exciting. Safe. And maybe, just maybe, this scary, strong, and kind woman named Naruko could guide them through the adventures that awaited. "And don't worry," she added with a wink. "We'll figure it out together." Luke felt a sense of relief he hadn't realized he needed. For the first time, he believed that even in a world full of monsters and mysteries, there were people, like Naruko, who made everything feel possible. "Don't worry about it. I was hoping to train you a bit before actually going, but I guess I'll have to put it on hold," Naruko said with a gentle smile. "Wait a minute, you were going to train us to do that stuff you did earlier?" Suki's eyes sparkled with hope. "Are you going to teach us that ball thing you used? What was it? Something ra something, right?" Annabeth asked, remembering how powerful and helpful it looked. Naruko chuckled warmly. "Unfortunately, you two will never be as strong as your awesome mom," she teased, making her daughters pout just a little. Talia and Luke exchanged amused glances. "Sorry, girls," Naruko continued, "but when you were born, your father's blood overpowered mine, being a god and all. But since I'm stronger than most regular mortals, you'll probably be able to do things regular demigods can't, or at least pick them up faster than most." "So that's why Tsuki is crazy about sports and so hyper?" Annabeth asked, connecting the dots in her head. "Actually, no," Naruko said with a smile, gently deflating Annabeth's realization. "She got that from me, which I got from my own mother. And you, Annabeth, took more after your grandfather and mother." "Wait. Our grandparents?" Annabeth exclaimed dramatically. "How come you never told us about our grandparents?" Suki asked. "Well," Naruko said, tilting her head thoughtfully, "1, you never asked, which made everyone look a little guilty. And 2, I never met them, they passed away shortly after I was born." She paused, letting the quiet settle. "Oh," the girls said softly. "Don't worry about it," Naruko said, her voice warm. "Look at me now. I'm loaded with love and have 2 beautiful daughters I couldn't be prouder of." She pulled them into a big hug, and the girls melted into it. Off to the side, Talia and Luke exchanged glances. "This is kind of awkward. And a little embarrassing," Talia muttered. "So, what are you two going to do now?" Naruko asked her preteen daughters, who jumped slightly at her voice. They shrugged. "If you're going to camp, I assume you'll be staying there?" Naruko asked, nodding toward their backpacks. "Then at least say goodbye to your parent. Trust me, a mother can worry for an eternity and still keep worrying." "Well, we need supplies, so I guess I should go home," Luke said nervously. "Good," Naruko said. "Everyone get some sleep, and I'll drive you all there tomorrow." They nodded obediently. Luke took a bed for himself, while Talia chose to sleep with Tsuki and Annabeth. Naruko took the last one. She lay back, wondering what adventures awaited them all. These moments rarely happened by chance, something exciting was bound to come up. Talia Grace was a bold and confident girl. She didn't worry much about what others thought of her. And if anyone tried to take advantage of that, she'd prove them wrong, though preferably without a fight. She had always known she was special. Even more so now, because she had magical lightning powers. She hadn't mastered them yet, but they were hers to explore. Her father, well, now she knew her mother, was someone extraordinary too. It made her curious why her powerful parent hadn't sent guidance sooner. But then again, knowing her mother, she probably liked doing things her own way. Talia woke up to the soft light in the hotel room ceiling. Stretching, she noticed the absence of other kids from the night before. Puzzled, she got up, and froze in surprise. Somehow, the two younger girls had snuck into Naruko's bed without her noticing. Annabeth was curled on Naruko's left shoulder, burrowing in for warmth. Tsuki was sprawled across the right side, snuggling close to Naruko's neck. It was incredibly adorable. And Talia had to admit, a little bit enviable. Parents like Naruko didn't come around often. She thought of her own family, her mother, her stepfather, and the tragedies they'd endured, and felt a pang of longing. Naruko noticed Talia standing there, an amused smile on her face. "Good morning," she said casually. "Yeah. Good morning," Talia mumbled, feeling awkward. "You're way too easy to read, you know that?" Naruko teased. "Shut it, whisker face," Talia grumbled. Morning wasn't her favorite time. "Oh? An insult? Does that mean you like me? They say girls are mean to people they like." Talia snorted. "Don't get ahead of yourself, Whiskers. I insult people all the time. You're not special. Still, thanks for saving us yesterday. But seriously, what's up with the weird question?" "You're welcome. I've got 2 daughters, remember? I have to figure out teenagers if I'm ever going to keep up. Women are a mystery that even a powerful shinobi can't solve," Naruko said with a playful sigh. Talia laughed. "And you never will." Naruko's daughters began to stir, yawning and stretching. Talia noticed they mirrored Naruko's movements almost perfectly, rubbing the backs of their heads as they woke. It struck her how close this little family seemed. "Mornin', Mom," they mumbled in unison, snuggling closer. "Morning, sweetie, honey," Naruko said, gently brushing the hair from their face and giving each a soft kiss on the forehead before standing up. "Now take a bath, and then we'll go get some breakfast." They nodded and went about their morning routine. "Wake up, Luke," Talia said, nudging him gently. He, what a silly dream," Luke mumbled, still half asleep. "Huh? Sounds like someone's having a very imaginative dream," Naruko said with a grin, while Talia crossed her arms, clearly unimpressed. "Bzzzt." Luke startled awake. "Get up, sleepyhead," Talia said firmly before leaving the room. "What?" Luke muttered, blinking in confusion. "You were dreaming about something wild," Naruko teased lightly. "Oh, maybe. Well, dreams are just silly, right?" Luke said sheepishly. Naruko nodded, her expression softening. "Yes, but remember to enjoy the day, too. Life's too short to stay stuck in dreams." Then Naruko asked, "So, where does your mother live?" Remembering last night's conversation, Luke scowled but answered honestly. "Westport, Connecticut. It'll take a few days to get there." "Hitchhiking?" "I can drive us, at most maybe 2 or 3 days," Naruko said kindly. "Oh, right. I forgot we're actually getting help. Not many adults care about us kids," Luke said quietly. Naruko stayed silent for a moment, understanding. She knew what it was like to feel alone. Most of her life, she had relied only on a few special people. But she had learned that adults could be helpful, and sometimes, showing trust could bring surprising support. She noticed Luke felt the same way. A sigh escaped her lips, partly in sympathy and partly in thought. She could tell the journey might be challenging, but also full of surprises. From the bathroom came laughter, Talia's cheerful voice. Naruko smiled. That was nice of her, she thought. Once everyone finished their morning routines, they went out for breakfast. Naruko suggested the kids order from the children's menu, but Annabeth and Tsuki insisted on choosing grown-up meals. They wanted to show off a little, and Luke and Talia simply watched, amused. A couple of hours later, the kids were full, happy, and humming along to some cheerful radio tunes when Annabeth asked, "Hey, Dad, what were Grandma and Grandpa like?" Suki nodded eagerly. Naruko glanced in the rearview mirror and noticed Talia and Luke had gone quiet. Perhaps they were imagining the stories of gods and legendary heroes. I never met them directly, but I know plenty about them. Do you want to hear? Naruko asked. Both girls nodded eagerly. Your grandfather's name was Minato Namikaze. He was an orphan, like me, and he had hair and eyes just like mine. He was clever and brave, and people always looked up to him. You could say he was a hero in his own way. And your grandma? What about her? Suki asked, eyes sparkling. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki, Naruko continued with a smile. She had bright red hair and sparkling hazel eyes. She came from a wealthy family but had to move because of a big storm. She was strong, brave, and a little fiery. When she introduced herself at school, she shouted her name and her dream, and everyone laughed at her, calling her the tomato because of her cheeks. But that never stopped her. Suki's eyes widened. Did Grandpa help her? Nope, Naruko said, laughing. She handled it all on her own. That's part of what made her so amazing. Annabeth listened in awe, imagining her clever and kind grandfather. Luke and Talia exchanged quiet glances, amazed at the unusual and colorful family Naruko had described. Grandma even had a nickname, the Red Hot Habanero, because of her hair, Naruko added with a chuckle. So, how did Grandpa meet Grandma? Annabeth asked curiously. Well, Naruko began, a few years after she moved, she was teased for her hair. One day, she was in danger because some people wanted her family's fortune. But Grandpa noticed her hair, the hair she used to dislike, and it led him right to her. It was like a magical thread guiding him. From that moment, she loved her hair because it had helped her find her soulmate. Everyone smiled warmly at the story. Suki's grin was especially wide, her grandma sounded incredible. The road trip continued smoothly. The main challenges were keeping up with bathroom breaks and choosing food. Naruko had a special fondness for fresh, handmade meals, so she made sure the kids had something wholesome to eat whenever possible. Luke shared some memories about his mother, and Naruko listened with understanding. She knew that sometimes, family could be complicated, but kindness, patience, and bravery could help heal even the hardest situations. After a few days, they arrived safely in Connecticut. Annabeth grumbled about missing the big city sights, but she quickly cheered up when she saw Naruko's gentle smile. One thing was certain, Annabeth and Suki had one rule they always followed. Don't let Dad, or in this case, Naruko, be sad. They would whisper, giggle, and sometimes grumble, but their hearts were always full of love. And that was the most important adventure of all. Luke's house wasn't impressive, but it seemed perfect for an ordinary family to live in. The only unusual thing was the odd decorations hanging from the windows, but that was about it. Welcome home, kid, Naruko said casually. Luke grunted. Everyone could tell he wasn't exactly looking forward to coming home. But it had to be done, there was no running away from it. With long strides, he walked up to the door and knocked. There was rustling and the faint sound of movement from inside. The door swung open, revealing a tall woman with long blonde hair streaked with a few lines of gray. Her eyes were slightly cloudy, but her gentle smile made her look kind and approachable. Luke? Luke, she cried, hugging him tightly. Yeah. Hi, Mom, he greeted softly. Luke, where have you been? Look at you, you're all dirty. Come inside and get cleaned up, she said, guiding him indoors. Okay, but Mom, I gotta. Yes, I know. Come on in, everyone. Make yourselves at home, she added, cutting him off. Naruko raised her eyebrows in surprise. How did she know they were coming? Very few people would tell her. Artemis and Athena were out, and Zeus wouldn't know Luke's mom either. That left only one possibility. Hi there, son. How've you been? A familiar voice called, followed by a soft thud. Ah. I did the same thing, Naruko muttered under her breath. Talia, standing nearby, raised an eyebrow at her muttering. Quickly, she separated the newly arrived Hermes and Luke, ushering them into a small, closed room. Perhaps not her brightest idea, putting them so close together when Luke clearly had feelings about Hermes, but she couldn't interfere. She sealed the door to keep the noise in and walked back to where the girls were waiting. Wow, her life was totally surrounded by girls. Weird. The girls looked at her strangely. Naruko sighed. Of course they would find it weird. It's a guy thing, she said with a shrug. Mrs. Castellan and Talia just snorted, while the younger girls nodded politely, accepting her vague explanation. Now, why don't we introduce ourselves? My name is Naruko, and these are my daughters, she said, gesturing toward them. Hello, my name is Annabeth. Pleased to meet you, said one politely. Hello, my name's Tsuki. Do you have anything to eat? Asked another. The women giggled and nodded. Hello, my name is Talia Grace. A pleasure, said Talia, speaking with careful formality. My name is May Castellan. Thank you for taking care of Luke, said the woman warmly. May and Talia began chatting about small adventures and appearances while Annabeth and Tsuki added little comments here and there. Naruko stayed alert, noticing the faraway look in May's eyes. She had seen it before, it was the gaze of a seer, a rare oracle. Naruko barely realized May had stepped right in front of her until she felt a gentle touch on her cheek, startling her slightly. Can I help you with something? Naruko asked. You are a strange one, May said quietly. Pardon? Naruko asked, confused. I can't see you. Or anything else clearly. Everything keeps shifting, she muttered. Naruko nodded knowingly. So you're an oracle, and you can't control it. May let out a sad smile. The girls were in the kitchen, enjoying cookies and Kool-Aid, so they didn't notice Naruko and May leaving the room together. What can you see? Naruko asked gently. May paused, searching for words. I'm a defective oracle. I have only brief moments of clarity. Sometimes I see the future, sometimes events that have already passed. I see many things I wish I could forget. She looked down. You can't control it? Naruko asked, understanding the weight of uncontrolled power. She shook her head. It's all random. I see gods, titans, people in danger. I see paths my child will walk, some dark, some bright. I fear I cannot prevent what is coming. Naruko let out a quiet laugh. God, I haven't laughed like that in a long time. May looked startled. What? Let me tell you a story, Naruko began, her voice steady and warm. Once there was a powerful beast, so strong that wherever it walked, mountains rose and lakes formed. People feared it, but one brave soul, guided by the heavens, stopped it. The beast was too strong, so its spirit was divided into 9 parts, hidden away. A prophecy foretold that one child would rise to protect the world. This child, full of courage and kindness, faced trials, made friends, and fought to protect those they loved. No matter the odds, the child never gave up and brought peace to the world. But the greatest lesson of all is that nothing is set in stone. As long as one never gives up, anything is possible. May listened, enraptured. You really are unusual, she said, smiling. Naruko shrugged. I guess I live up to my name. We were always a rowdy bunch. May giggled. I see. And your daughters? Will they be safe? Naruko smiled. Believe it or not, in every vision I've had, I dedicate myself to making them happy. The moment was calm and comforting until the doors flew open, revealing Luke, backpack in hand, racing out of the house. The other children gasped and quickly chased after him. Naruko watched silently, knowing some journeys must be faced alone. Hermes and May shared a solemn glance. It's complicated, Hermes said quietly. Naruko nodded. Whatever happens, I'll have their back. May's eyes softened. Thank you, Naruko. Truly. All in a day's work, Naruko said with a grin, stepping out into the world with the same courage and hope she had always carried. May whispered, watching her go, he's going to change things. But with someone like her, maybe. Just maybe, it'll be for the better. Naruko was frustrated, more frustrated than she had ever been in her life. Why? Because some strange, mischievous creatures had the nerve to block her path while she was driving. Thankfully, the children weren't with her this time, but still, she had narrowly avoided a terrible accident. At least she wasn't hurt, and it was better than ending up in a watery mess somewhere. How come there's always some kind of trouble when I'm on the road? She muttered, glaring at the smoking remains of her car. All her clothes and supplies had been in there, too. Luckily, she always kept her essential tools safely tucked in her magical scrolls, but still. Her car blew up. Naruko took a deep breath. The creatures, some with wings, some with odd shapes, and some that looked like animals mixed together, seemed to have gathered deliberately. Why now? She thought. Why when I'm alone? She remembered her responsibility to the children she cared for. She couldn't rush into things carelessly, not anymore. She had to think. Her eyes sparkled with determination. All right, Naruko. You've got this. There's water everywhere, and I have my abilities. Let's make this work. She focused her energy and summoned her chakra, a glowing power she had learned to control. Gentle ice mirrors began to appear around her, forming a sparkling dome. The creatures looked confused, unsure of what was about to happen. Naruko moved with grace, slicing the air with a magical sword that shimmered like moonlight. A mysterious figure in the mist. One creature whispered in awe. Meanwhile, Suki was learning an important lesson her father, or rather, Naruko, had taught her long ago. Suki, she had said, there may come a time when I can't protect you. Use everything you've learned to stay safe. Suki always carried a small magical dagger, and today, it came in handy. When one of the winged creatures swooped too close, she threw it skillfully, and it glowed briefly, showing that her training had paid off. Nice throw, Annabeth whispered. Dad taught me, Suki said proudly as she retrieved her dagger. Focus, girls, Naruko's voice called gently but firmly. Stick together and be careful. I'll handle the tricky ones, but you two keep an eye on the smaller creatures. The children nodded, feeling braver knowing Naruko was there. Then, something amazing happened. From the forest emerged a group of young hunters, children like them, each carrying bows and arrows that shimmered with magic. Not bad, Naruko said with a smile, watching as the hunters' arrows turned the mischievous creatures into harmless sparkling dust. What just happened? Luke asked, staring in wonder. You'll see soon enough, Naruko said, eyes twinkling. We've met friends who are here to help. Stepping forward was a girl with auburn hair and silvery eyes. She radiated confidence and grace. I am Artemis, she said softly but firmly. We are the hunters, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Suki tugged at Naruko's sleeve, eyes wide. Who are they? They're friends, Naruko explained quickly. They've pledged to help the good and keep everyone safe. Now, say hello. Suki took a deep breath and smiled, stepping forward. Hello, I'm Tsuki, she said politely. The other children smiled back, and Naruko felt her heart swell with pride. Even in the face of strange creatures and unexpected challenges, everyone had come together safely. See? Naruko said, ruffling Tsuki's hair. When you stay calm, help others, and trust your friends, there's nothing you can't handle. And with that, the sun peeked through the clouds, the magical forest sparkled, and Naruko led the children and the hunters onward, ready for the next adventure, knowing that courage, cleverness, and kindness would always guide them. And that's a wrap for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching and found it entertaining or informative. Your support means a lot, so don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Every click, every comment, and every share helps us grow and keep bringing you awesome content. Thank you so much for spending your time here with me. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who watches, engages, and supports this journey. Stay tuned for more exciting videos coming your way soon. Until next time, take care and keep enjoying the world of anime. Regards. Anime Octopus.